we want sexual experiences that move us. We want sexual
Oh,
experiences that change us. We want to come out of the bedroom a different person than when we came in. We want transcendence. We want to experience something that's special, that's different. Welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm your host, Dan Purcell, a sex and intimacy coach for married couples. My mission is to help you build and maintain a sexually vibrant and emotionally intimate marriage. Join me each week as we explore principles and practical tools based on Christian values to create the passionate, joyful, and thriving marriage you're designed to have. Pause for a moment and think, when's the last time I felt really turned on? Okay, are you thinking about that? Anyway, I hope that question and the memory that came to you brought a smile to your face. What about your spouse? When's the last time he or she was highly aroused and engaged? What can we learn from research and experiences of men and women that can inform how we can better love and desire our spouse? By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with actionable insights into how turn on works for you and your spouse in your marriage. You can use these tips I shared to enjoy a sexier marriage right away. Last year, I had the honor of being a guest on Charlene Byers' Love Stories podcast, where we discussed this topic among many other topics related to enjoying a sexy marriage. Understanding and loving and desiring well through our sexuality is the challenge and opportunity we all enjoy in our marriages. And I'm looking forward to you hearing this conversation today. Now, before we begin, I do want to point out that we have our April in-person couples retreat. It's been sold out for months, but we did have a last-minute cancellation. It's 2 months away. If you're interested in coming, please apply now, and you might be able to get in and take this spot that just opened up. Furthermore, we have our first Get Your Marriage On cruise setting sail this October. This is a great opportunity to implement all the principles we talk about on our podcast. It's going to be a little bit sexier because we're bringing on a boudoir photographer, and we have some other fun things planned. You get to meet with me and my team on the sea days. So you get a vacation with us and do a deep dive on intimacy in your marriage. It's going to be a really fun and sexy experience for you and your spouse. You'll find those details in the show notes or on our website at getyourmarriageon.com also. So, ready? Here we go.
please help me to welcome Dan Purcell.
Woohoo!
When I first had an opportunity to actually meet you, we had our pre-interview.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by this work that you're doing and how important it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really going to resonate with a lot of people because I find it also interesting how you can get people in love and they're falling in love and they're getting married and they don't actually talk about sex.
No.
And
Uh-uh.
right, they don't talk about sex. If they're in that place right now and they're like, "Huh, what do you mean?" They're like, "What do you mean? We have sex." Um, Take me back to that phase of your marriage. How
Okay.
you obviously, because you were in that phase of your marriage and then you went to another phase of your marriage.
Sure.
What was it like that? So people can, really reference that.
So I don't think it's like a wrong thing.
Mhm.
And we can get into the deeper reasons for it later if you want to. But
Yeah.
early on in a relationship, it's supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel very mutual and there's a lot of reciprocity, right? So early on, even if you do talk about sex, it's usually in terms of finding your overlaps of what you both like,
Okay.
which is a good thing. And if the other person doesn't like something that you're kind of interested in, you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't like that either, because their goal is to find the overlap.
Okay.
So let's say person A wants to do some sexual behavior and B is a little uncomfortable with it. It's natural for A to kind of, okay, never mind. We'll focus on the other things. So there's so much still common ground. But as the marriage progresses and you start to experience, let's just talk about the things you do in the bedroom.
Okay.
It tends to be predictable. It tends to
Okay.
be a little routine. There's a script, and there's nothing wrong with that per se. But there is a reason why people joke about a 7-year itch or a 3-year itch or whatever the joke is,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Let's
Because
talk
there's
about
some
that.
truth to the
Okay.
idea that it can get a little boring. And it's not because you married the wrong person, it's because the boringness is there to set you up for your next phase of your relationship. That if you choose to accept this mission, invites you into another level. But there's a leap to be made, and that's difficult for a lot of couples, myself included, to
Okay.
step
Okay.
into. And so early on,
Okay.
it's supposed to be a little more easy, a little
A little
more,
more easy, a
yeah,
little more okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
right. Now, of course, there are cases where there are couples that have maybe a history of sexual abuse or a history of maybe with a past partner where sexual experiences were not enjoyable,
Okay.
or there might need to be some more disclosures that are going to be healthy
Mhm.
so that there's a place of trust in the relationship. Like that needs to be there early on in a relationship. So you need to talk about those things, I believe, because that will set you up for more success later, right? You don't want to have surprises or like, ha, you said I do. I locked you in now.
Yeah.
Now you have to love me no matter what. See, you said I do, regardless of whether I was truthful to you or not. Like that's not a good setup for the marriage either. So,
It's true.
um, but generally, I think it's okay to have not a lot of differences, at least in the beginning, when it
Okay.
comes to.
Okay. So that's pretty much what you're saying is a normal overall could be progression. Like
Yeah,
it's okay. Okay.
right.
So then in your personal experience, but then obviously you've helped so many people, what have you noticed is the shift in the change? So if that is, let's say you have couples and that's kind of like they're normal and you're right, a lot of couples, and it's not a bad thing, it's just what kind of happens. They have the routine, like you said, kind of just stays the same. So it's not necessarily that couples are not having sex. It's just eh, sometimes.
Yeah, the
Is
depth.
that
Well,
kind of it?
yeah, I think especially the older we get
Okay.
and the longer you've been with the person, we want sexual experiences that move us. We want sexual
Oh,
experiences that change us. We want to come out of the bedroom a different person than when we came in. We want transcendence. We want to experience something that's special, that's different. So if the sex you're having is kind of, and as you use the word routine, there's nothing wrong with routine. I
yeah.
want to be clear. It's
Yes.
just that there's not a lot of depth of soul in it.
Yeah, it's there's not a depth of soul when it's just routine all the time.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, you're talking about something different. You're not just talking about the physical act. You're going deeper, which
Yeah,
is
we're bringing our heart
awesome.
to this. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, this is
exactly.
hard. Yeah, we're like, you
Yeah.
guys get ready, get ready. We're not just talking, and I think that is really important that you're saying that. I think there is something too with the longer you've been with someone, the older that you get,
Mhm.
and maybe what you craved or needed in the beginning is not what you need further along. I got
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Okay. And
exactly.
and we change, life happens,
Mhm.
things happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're talking about is when it comes to routine, we're specifically talking about routine in the way of, the actual
Initiating. Yeah. Uh-huh.
initiating, kind of like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
How you know you're gonna start and how you know you're gonna end and everything in
Okay.
between. Yeah.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That's kind of your routine.
Mhm.
And another thing of a routine is not really talking about some changes we can do, right? Like, usually, people don't talk about that. That could be a
Yes.
routine that we don't usually talk about, if you're like, if you like this, if you don't like this, if there's something you want to try. And then another thing that you're talking about is I truly believe this too. And I love this part. Yes, sex is obviously can be physical, but sex, there's so many different layers.
Yes.
There's the physical part, and there is that real connection, intimacy part. So let's keep going there with that. I know you were, I
Okay.
just, okay,
Sounds good. I
okay,
can give you an example
okay,
of a time it's not my best moment
okay,
when I kinda messed up.
okay.
Alright.
It's okay, Dan. Thank you for being vulnerable. Yeah.
Alright. So, I told you the story of how we, like, discovered, "Hey, sex can be really good for our marriage," right?
Okay.
So, fast forward a few years, and we, like, cleared one level. It's like an old video game. You cleared one level, now you're on your next level, and
Okay.
now we've got a more difficult challenge that we run into.
Okay.
And that's a challenge that's very common, almost every couple has it, and that's sexual desire discrepancy.
Okay. That
One
makes sense.
person just wants sex more than the other. In any marriage, you're gonna have someone that wants it more than the other, and that's not a bug, it's not a problem unless you turn it into a problem, like I just did.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
So, I'll tell this story.
Okay.
So, kind of in true nerd fashion, in our walk-in closet, we have a calendar, and I'd mark little symbols with, my wife and I would do this too, of every time we made love.
Okay.
And different symbols meant different things. And I was also keeping track of how often she had an orgasm. And one day I was looking at the poster and like, holy cow, I have a really bad batting average. Like, this is my batting average. This is really poor because
Because
it's
you were
not
like keeping
balanced.
track. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's
It's
kind of
way more
cool.
me than her. And I really wanted more parity or maybe, women have deeper sexual capacity than men, generally speaking. I want her to have even more than I do. Like, I think that's really important. So I unilaterally took it upon myself to let's fix this. Let's get this up. So during sex, guess what my focus is on?
Her.
Her and her
Mhm.
performance.
Yes.
And when the littlest thing doesn't go right, there it goes again. Like I messed up. We messed up. This isn't going to work. And then my poor wife, right? She feels
Bless
like
her
a
heart. Yeah,
project,
yeah, yeah.
right? Is that a meaning that's like exciting to be in? Like she thinks if I don't have an orgasm, he's going to feel like he's a failure. I need to have an
Right,
orgasm here. And you're trying and trying. Can you try to have an orgasm if you really try for it?
right,
No.
right. No,
No.
no, no.
It's like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The more you're trying to like sleep, the more elusive it becomes, right? That's
Correct.
how
Yes,
orgasm is, right?
yes,
And
yes.
then so she's frustrated and I'm frustrated and she's frustrated and I'm frustrated and I'm frustrated that she's frustrated. So sex
That's so
turns into
yes.
it's not a loving meaning anymore.
Yeah.
Sex has now turned into a place where we both either want to rush through it, just get it over and done with, just to say we did it,
Okay.
or it's a place where we both go to feel bad. And that's not an inviting meaning.
No, that's
No,
really interesting that you're saying that because I can see that.
that's just
Yeah,
like an example, right?
yeah, that's a good
So
example.
that's like to focus on performance.
Okay.
But couples do this all the time, and it's normal. And normal meaning it's very common.
Very common.
Is
Yeah.
is as human beings, we are meaning-making machines. It's impossible to have an experience without deriving some meaning from it. Even
Okay.
the phrase, "Oh, my life is meaningless," is a meaning.
The meeting. Okay. Yeah.
There's a meaning attached to it. You can't have sex without making meaning from your experience, right?
Okay.
Seeing him aroused, seeing her aroused or not aroused, we all make meanings from this. So when you start to really peel back the onions and you want the peel back the onion layers and get deeper into your sexual relationship, it's an examination on what are the meanings that are alive in our sexual relationship. And they often, your whole marriage as a dynamic, all the meanings between the two of you show up sexually in some way or another. So it's like sex is a microcosm of the whole marriage dynamic that you have alive.
Wow. That's good. That's fascinating. 'Cause the intimacy, that connection or whatever's going on really does play a part in
It shows up. You can't hide it in sex.
can't
And
hide
it's
it.
no. It's because sex is so core to who we are. It's so personal, and it's probably the most vulnerable thing we ever do as a human with another human. You can't hide it there.
You can't hide it. Okay, so talk to me about that. When you started getting curious and started discovering, "Oh, wow. Now I'm noticing, something that you had good intentions." You're like, "Oh, I want her to also, be pleasurable." When it came to those conversations, what was your wife saying? Like, what, when you guys was this before you guys were really talking?
This
Or
is after we were talking.
this is after? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. So when you started noticing that, what was something that you needed to do to shift out of that? Was it another deeper conversation?
Here's a series of things.
Okay.
One really helpful thought is I'm a kind of a goal-oriented guy, which gets me in trouble in this case, right?
Okay.
My wife having an orgasm is a goal.
Okay.
Goals are good. Goals drive you in life. But have you ever set a goal on something that you have absolutely no control over? It's a ridiculous idea, but some people do it, right? Like,
Yes.
I'm gonna make a goal that tomorrow's gonna be a sunny day when it's been rainy all week. Like, it's out of my control. I don't set the rules for that.
That makes
And
sense.
what clicked in my mind is I don't give my wife an orgasm. She gives herself an orgasm.
Wow.
On a biological level, orgasm is a reflex like a sneeze. You get enough stimulation the right way, and your body has a reflex. You go into orgasm, right? Even she doesn't have direct control. Like, you can't make yourself sneeze on demand. Well, maybe you can set the right conditions. I sniff, I don't know, cracked black pepper or something,
Maybe,
but,
yeah,
right? Or
yeah.
tickle her nose, right? But it's that reflex. I don't provide it for her. I don't give it to her. And so I was setting a goal on something that I don't have direct control over. And
Oh,
whenever you set yourself a goal on something you don't have control over, you're going to be anxious. And my
okay.
anxiety goes up in sex because I don't look anxious. Like, I got it all put together. But
Yes.
below the surface, my wife is tracking me. She's like, he's really anxious about what's going
Really?
on in here.
Okay.
And anxiety is very contagious emotion. If I'm anxious, people around me get anxious really quick, right? So my wife is
Mhm.
now anxious because I'm anxious, and those meetings aren't good. So I had to learn how to stop being anxious in sex. I had to
Okay.
learn how to let go and just to enjoy my wife because my wife is my wife and all of her and just the amazing, beautiful, and incredible woman she is, and to appreciate it. And just, I'm here to celebrate us and just to be real in the moment and to just enjoy her.
Just to
Not
enjoy
not
her.
for what she does for me or what she produces, right? Or how much her orgasm feeds my ego, right? You had to take my ego out of all this. And that was a mindset shift that helped me through that specific challenge.
Oh, I like that you said that.
Mhm.
Even though you are with your person, your lover, of course you also want that person to have pleasure. And when married couples, if you're having, sexual intercourse, we all think pleasure is overall the actual orgasm, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the
I
moment,
mean,
right?
orgasms are great, by the way.
Right.
They're very pleasurable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but ultimately, it's kind of like we feel that that's the ultimate, the end result, an orgasm.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
For
that's
most
just
couples, that's
for
how they
most
know sex
couples.
is over. We
Yes,
had our orgasms, we're done.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Right.
So I think because that's why we're having this conversation today to start shifting
Yes.
how we're thinking. That's why we're having this conversation. Okay. So when couples are thinking that, and I've heard this too, and I'm speaking for men, but I'm not a man, but I've heard this too. It is very important, and it drives a man that his lady, is having an orgasm and is
Oh,
having
yeah.
pleasure, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
speak on that and the difference between you truly as a man, because we process different, you
Mhm.
do want your wife to, enjoy herself and have
Right.
pleasure, but the difference between that and what you're talking about now and then before with the ego.
Okay, if you track closely,
Okay.
it's the behavior is the same
Okay.
emotions, but the motivation is different. So
Mm.
in the scenario where I was doing it wrong, do I want my wife to have pleasure? Yes.
Okay.
But why do I want my wife to have pleasure? If I'm really honest, it's to improve my batting average so that I feel better about me.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of extracting from her to feed me in it. And
Okay.
that is very different than giving my wife pleasure because I love her and because it's fun to see her light up like a Christmas tree. Like giving
Okay.
her that pleasure because I love her. The motive is very different. Same
Mm.
behavior. And you're onto something. If you look at journal entries of men that write out their peak sexual experiences, their favorite sexual experiences, 9 times out of 10, they hardly mention their own orgasm. It's all
Okay.
about her. It's all about
Yes.
her experience. And I think that's a very healthy part of male sexuality. And um, if you want, let's do a little sidebar on
Okay.
on this. So you ask men, what turns you on the most? They're going to answer to be with a turned on woman. Being with a turned on woman is the most exciting meaning for a man. You ask a woman what turns you on the most, they're not going to say being with a turned on man. Right? For most women, seeing a man fully aroused isn't like
It's not like, yeah.
no. But for a woman, it is knowing she is the turn on. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So for women, it's like, I am the reason why he is turned on. If
Correct.
she feels that, that is an arousing meaning for her.
Yes.
In other words, and I say this jokingly almost, good, healthy sexuality for women is narcissistic, right? It's like, I am the center of attention. I turn him on. And I am so beautiful, or I am so whatever the meaning is that's
Yeah.
helpful in that moment, right?
Yeah.
That he can't help himself. Like, that is a very empowering meaning in sex. The reason why that's empowering for women is if you look at cultural norms in
Hmm.
general, women are more the caretaker type,
Hmm.
men are more the protector type.
Hmm.
So in sex, really good sex for women is when she doesn't have to be the caretaker anymore.
That's so
Is
good.
in sex, like in the story with my wife, she has to caretake. This is different than taking care. Taking
That's
care has
good.
heart, right?
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
caretaking. This is like almost maternalistic, right? She has to caretake my ego. Oh, I need to have an orgasm in order for my husband to feel good. See,
Oh, that's
like,
so good.
right? There's this caretaking energy. I hear other women say, if I don't give him sex, then he's going to blank, like look at porn or deviate, right? That's caretaking energy. Men do this too. Men will say to their wives, like, hey, you have no problem being out with your friends, or you have no problem scrolling on social media for an hour. How come you can't give me 10 minutes? Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
inviting caretaking energy out of their wife, and it's a bad formula for sex.
Okay.
So you want great sexual scenarios where she doesn't have to caretake. She can be taken care of. She can be pampered. She can be the center of attention. She can be the turn on, but not caretake.
Oh, that's so, oh, Mr. Dan. Woo! When you say it like that, wow, that is such a difference.
It is different.
Oh. My listeners are like, yeah, Dan, that's what I want. They're like, that sounds
Sign me
really
up.
sign me up for
Mhm.
that. Okay, okay. Flip it for the man now.
Okay. For the man, remember his biggest turn on is to be with a woman who is turned on.
Okay.
His social role is being protector. So he needs to get out of protector mode. Like, she needs to get out of caretaker mode. He needs to get out of protector mode.
Okay.
So if I know I'm with my wife and she's loving it, she's into it, she's like more, 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 yes, 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 don't stop, I don't have to protect her. But if I have to, like for a lot of men who all of a sudden lose desire for sex, not all of them, but
Okay.
in some marriages where this happens, the scenario is set up where she's too fragile. I need to tiptoe around her. I need to be careful with her. See, that's inviting that protector energy and is anti-erotic for him. So he loses desire for sex with her because those meanings are alive in their relationship. He participates in this meeting too, so it's not all on her.
Okay.
Another way this shows up could be, don't tell me about your problems, husband. Like, you're supposed to be the tough one. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be immune to stress. You're supposed to be immune to things. Like, I really don't want to know about what's in your heart. Like, I don't want to know you. Or he thinks she doesn't want to know me. I need to protect her from parts of me that if she knew, she would be unhappy with me. So when we do engage, I'm just showing her parts of me that I want her to see, metaphorically speaking, to hide, to protect her from reality. But you
Mm,
can't really make love to someone that you can't really be your whole self with,
correct. That's
too.
good, Dan. Yes.
So couples do kind of over time, these kinds of dynamics play out. They don't even think that. They
They're
don't
not
even
even
realize
thinking
it.
about it. That okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So what you're saying, as you said, it's just very normal how this kind of just goes into this pattern, right? Because
Yes.
we're not having these conversations. Well, we're gonna change it now, Dan. That's
Yes.
why we're having these conversations. So you can have these conversations with your partner, right, Dan? So
Yes.
you can start changing things up. This is
Right.
so cool. I can see easily how both the man and the woman will get in a position that they're not really able to be vulnerable.
Right.
So let's talk about vulnerability, that type of intimacy
Yeah, yeah.
that can start happening when we start shifting that way. What is that? What is that other beautiful layer, Dan? Ooh,
Great.
Dan.
Well, when you're talking, I thought of
Yeah.
Jesus's teaching in the Sermon on the Mount about
Okay.
we like to look at the speck in other people's eyes, but ignore the beam in our own eye, right? We can't see clearly, but we can see the littlest flaw in other people.
Yes.
In the psychology research, there's a lot of truth to the fact that we can map, or map is the word they use. It means you can track, you can kind of sense what's going on in other people's minds more clearly than what's in your own mind. In other
Okay.
words,
Okay.
my wife can track that it's an ego trip for me
Okay.
when she orgasms far more clearly than I can track it in my own mind. Likewise, there are things I can track in my wife a lot more clearly than she can track in her own mind too, because that's just the way our brains work. Our brains hate feeling wrong, and we're very good at that self-deception aspect. So sometimes what you need is to have an honest conversation.
Okay.
And learning how to have difficult conversations is a lifelong skill. And sometimes it's appropriate to bring in a third view, like a neutral third, someone who's trained in this, someone who is good, and someone who will speak truth to both of you that you can both kind of trust. And that's what I believe coaching or therapy, like if you have a good therapist or a good coach, like there's bad ones out there too, but like a
Yes.
good one, their job is to really help bring more truth to the table, bring more things to the surface. It's like naming the elephant in the room that you both don't want to see. Sometimes that kind of a process helps you get to those deeper layers.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to part 1. Now, continue on to listen to part 2. And here's a little preview of what you're going to find in the part 2 of this conversation with Charlene Byers. It's like, we need to change the way we have sex. When you initiate 11 p.m. on a Friday night when I'm really tired, of course I say no, but you ask at a time that I'm really tired and I feel guilty because I keep telling you no. So I want to tell you yes. Then the sex is crappy. But it also makes me wonder why you're asking me at such a time. And I can only think that it's probably because you're more interested in proving that you're justified in your position of being the martyr here, being the one always turned down and feeling rejected, rather than really wanting to be with me. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's hard to hear.
Yes.